라이벌전 아니겠습니까?
그럼요.
라이벌전에서도 패배를 기록하면서 자신의 패만 늘려가게 된다면은 뭐 자존심도 상하는 거고요.
네.
전체적으로 기분이 빠지는 상황이 될 수밖에 없습니다.
네. 자, 그러면 김대엽 선수하고 상대한 SK텔레콤
And it is gonna be Sue. Alright, cool. I'm actually glad that it is Sue and not Saxry, because Saxry is definitely not quite as good as Sue. Anyway, looks like he's 2-2 this season. 1-1 in Brood War. I didn't actually pay attention to what stats were just now. Oh man, guys, can I just say, like, if so everybody now in the chat, like, obviously you have your ID, but if you ever like need to make a new ID or something, please don't just like pick random commonly used words. They're like the most annoying thing for like a commentator or for anyone who has to say your name and not try and confuse themselves. Seriously, like, you can pick dictionary words, like, right, Stork, I'm never gonna get his name mixed up in a sentence, because when the hell am I actually gonna talk about storks, right? Well, okay, I say that, but usually not. But if you pick games like, or if you pick names like stats, or like really, or much, it's terrible. It's terrible. Wait a minute, didn't I talk about this with Caro yesterday? I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Anyway, looks like we're going to be on Jade. And in the bottom left is Le Purple Protoss. We will have Stats, aka Flash's sidekick, aka the Chin Toss. Oh, actually it's Electric Circuit, it's not Jade, I'm sorry. Man, how does that keep happening to me? I keep like looking at the minimap and like not being able to recognize the colors. Like yesterday I kept switching Ground Zero and Electric Circuit, and now today I'm looking at Electric Circuit and I'm like, oh, it's Jade. Oh man, am I actually colorblind? Can somebody, how do I self-diagnose if I'm colorblind or not? Maybe I'm just minimap blind. That could be it. I could just be minimap blind, because I can see it fine on the main screen. Alright. Anyway, it looks like we're going to have a standard Forge Fast Expand. Electric Circuit lends itself to some pretty crazy PvZ games, just because of that protected back mineral only. So it's like essentially a free base until the Zerg breaks down your back with lurkers, and then Protoss is not so happy. Yeah, we've seen a lot of like crazy games where Zerg is doing some like fancy drop plays, doing multi-pronged attacks through the back and at the natural. We saw a great game this season between Effort and some Protoss I can't remember, although that was kind of in my messed up cast where like half the game got lagged out. But last season as well, I remember also a pretty epic game, I think, between Calm and Harangi on this map, where like Harangi went for Sayle Reaver, but Calm did a pretty sick Hydra timing. Anyway, looks like there's a pool first build from the Zerg. Something like an overpool. I never really look at the Zerg builds at the beginning. I actually thought about this and why this is, because especially whenever I cast DBZ, I never get the Zerg builds, and I think it's because like for Protoss and Terran, even if you don't look at the exactly what they're doing in the early game, you can just kind of tell roughly from the building ordering like what the build is. So like if I'm looking at a PVT, right, and I don't look at the Protoss at all until he has a cybernetic score, I still know exactly what he's done up until that point. But for the Zerg, it actually kind of matters, like how many drones they make and then their pool or their hatch rate or whatever. So Zergs, they're just nitpicky, I mean, that's why they're the womanly race. You see, you gotta constantly watch them. They're like constantly nagging you, like, hey, look at me, look at how many drones I'm building. It's pretty terrible. So Sue has taken his back minor only as his first expansion, which is actually pretty common on this map. And oh, he's still gonna get his actual natural blocked here though, which will be his third base now, but I don't think he's going to mind that quite as much. I'm actually not even sure if he has the minerals for it right now. Actually, maybe he does. He's taking his gas already, so he's probably not too happy about this little droner. But a couple of Zerglings going to come back here, deal with that, so we'll be able to make his hatchery. And all is well and good in the Zerg world. I'm going to be occasionally sipping my nice warm honey water.
그런 만큼 의무감을 좀 가지고 그리고 첫 경기에 임했는데요. 정찰했던 프로브는 일단
So the second
잡았고요.
probe is already going out here. I quite like that. So he's going to actually be able to avoid the Zerglings before they get back to the front of his natural. I guess Sue only made 2 Zerglings. Because I was going to say, would have been nice for him to have left one Ling just chilling at the front, and just brought the rest back. But no, he does have 4 Zerglings right now. The other 3 are still at his natural, so he will be able to take down this probe. One Zergling is actually making its way all the way back. I don't know if he's actually mis-hotkeyed his Zerglings or something. But the one Zergling, he sent one Zergling to the front of the Protoss base to just like hold position and see if any ults come out. But then he brought it back. So maybe he just brought it back to kill the probe. But he does have 3 other Zerglings there. So, you know, not having vision at the front of the Protoss base always makes me a little bit nervous for a Zerg player. And Sue in particular, by the way, played a very funny game against Flash last season, where he basically died to like 4 Marines and a medic or something. 5 Marines and a medic, because Flash just like moved out of his base, and Sue for some reason didn't have a Zergling spotting, so he didn't make any more Zerglings or Sunkens. He just kept making drones, and then all of a sudden at his natural there's like 5 Marines, and Flash just micros away and is like, oh well, I guess I just won. It was quite sad. I'm pretty sure that was Sue. It was some Zerg. I might be mistaken, but anyway. Looks like Spire going up in the Zerg base and Stargate for the Protoss. Standard stuff here. Ooh, look at this. These Zerglings, I'm pretty sure they're just checking for any hidden probes there at the 6 o'clock. Because Stat seems to be pretty persistent with his probe scouting. So, he doesn't want to let any extra probes into his base. He does also have speed for his Lings, so gonna do some, or basically gonna deny any scouting until the Corsair gets out for the Protoss. And looks like it's gonna be a Sayle Reaver build coming out for Stats here. Very, very cool stuff. Oh man, I love Sayle Reaver. I love watching Sayle Reaver. It's extremely mechanically demanding. Possibly one of the most mechanically demanding builds that you can do in StarCraft or in Brood War. Just because you have to constantly babysit the shuttle and the Corsairs. It's very difficult to do that and macro at the same time. You need some pretty sick APM to do this strategy, but when it works, it is so cool to watch. So for anyone who's not really familiar with this, essentially what you do is you get +1 air attack, you get a bunch of Corsairs as your anti-air, and you get a shuttle and a Reaver, and you go and like harass the Zerg a lot with your Reaver, while your Corsairs protect you against Scourge and Mutas and the like. And the Zerg ground units generally have a difficult time against a shuttle, especially a shuttle with speed and a Reaver. The Reaver basically, you know, demolishes any Zerg ground unit, and if you micro it well, you can do some pretty amazing things. So we do see the support bay going up now. He will want to trap a probe behind his mineral lines at some point, I think. I think he just sent the probe back there to do it now, so that he can stack his Corsairs. It's only 1 Stargate as well, so it's not... Oh, can he? Oh no, never mind. I was gonna say, I thought for a second he could actually trap that probe in that little gap thing behind the main minerals by building 1 pylon, but actually there's not enough space. Anyway, Evolution Chamber on the way, Hydrogen already on the way. But the thing is here, since Sue only took his back mineral only as his 3rd, or I guess as his natural, or as his 1st base, but he's got basically 3 relatively close together bases, so it's not going to be too difficult for him to defend, although he is now taking the 6 o'clock base, which is going to be a little bit more easy for Stats to harass. But this is the thing, like on some maps, you know, the Zerg will take a far away natural as their 3rd, so they have a lot of ground to cover if they want to go and defend it, which I think makes the Sayle Reaver harass a little bit more effective, at least in terms of forcing more static defenses from the Zerg. But well, let's see what Stats can do here. Looks like some Scourge coming out. He's gonna go for a bit of a scout here. I don't think Sue is actually aware of this mass Corsair fleet yet. He's going to be in for a bit of a surprise. He probably will fly over here to the natural and see what's going on. He'll see the robo and he'll know exactly what's going on. And generally the response for the Zerg is to just expand very not greedily, but I guess aggressively expand, if that makes sense. Just expand a lot, you know, just make a lot of Hydras, make a lot of drones, just try and out-economy your opponent, because Sayle Reaver is a very, very expensive unit composition. It's basically like a very high-tech army, but basically means you're not going to have a big ground force to support it. Not going to have a high gateway count, not going to have a lot of you know, Zealots, Dragoons, High Templars, etc. So there's really no way for you to like just go and attack and kill an expansion. You just have to keep harassing with the Reaver. So the Zerg will just be like, okay, you can do your fancy harassment. Maybe you'll kill a few drones here and there, but I'll just have so many bases, so many drones that it doesn't actually matter. However, having said that, looks like one Corsair goes down there, but +1 is now finished, and I think it'll be fine. We see Stats actually adding on more gateways. I was a little bit surprised. I thought he would actually just take that back mineral only relatively quickly and just use his harassment to keep Sue on the back foot. But instead he's gone for a big gateway switch here. He hasn't actually really moved out with his Corsair Reaver, which does concern me a little bit. He's got 2 Reavers at the front. I don't know if he's just scared of a big Hydra bust or something, but it seems kind of funny to me that he's not attacking. I wonder if he's just trying to hit some kind of sick mid-game timing here. And yeah, it looks like that's exactly what's going on here. I think he's got 2 Reavers now in that shuttle. He's waited for 2 Reavers. He's waited for speed. So he's actually moving out with a handful of Zealots, a Dragoon, and most likely 2 Reavers in that shuttle. And with the Zealots buffering for the Reaver, he will be able to take these Hydras head on. And speaking of buffering, I hope this stream doesn't buffer too much, but look at this, the Reaver shot's going in, some nice Scarab dodging by Sue! Excellent Scarab dodging there. If you run away long enough, the Scarabs will just eventually dud. Unfortunately for him though, the Reaver is still way too good for these Hydras to deal with. The Corsairs coming in, taking down all the Overlords, so it looks like Stats getting a little bit too over-eager with those Corsairs, but now he's moving into the 6 o'clock base, but he's got to be very, very careful. He no longer has the supporting ground unit, so now the Reavers can get sniped. One Reaver gets sniped, and he's got to be so careful with the other Reaver. The other Reaver gets picked up, but the shuttle might go down. Oh my god, Stats should not have dropped that Reaver a second time. Stats made a big mistake there, got a bit greedy. After he picked that up the first time, he should have just flown away. He would have gotten away. He does not have shuttle speed, so he cannot afford to do those kinds of risky maneuvers. Oh man, that is horrible for Stats. I mean, he killed a bunch of Hydras, but he did not, you know, hurt the economy of Sue at all. Sue is now on 4 bases, so Stats is 2. Stats has lost his expensive Reavers, his shuttle, his Corsair fleet has been diminished. I think Sue is in a fantastic position now in this game. It's like second evolution chamber on the way. +1 attack's probably done for the Hydra Lurk. But you know, regardless of upgrades, it's going to be really difficult now for Stats because he invested in that expensive Ser Reaver tech and didn't really do nearly enough damage with it. I mean, on the bright side, I guess he didn't. At least he didn't get speed. Although I guess if he did get speed, he would have saved that shuttle and Reaver. But well, it looks like Sue's Lurker is getting a little bit caught out of position there. A couple of Zealots moving in, sniping those. Very nice move from Stats, and just going to immediately run home. I like this very much. A lot of Protoss players might just overcommit there and just charge in and try and kill the last Lurker and, you know, maybe target down the hatchery. But Sue's reinforcements would have been there in time to prevent that most likely. One thing Stats does have to worry about now, though, is with Lurkers on the field, he could easily get this back power generator thing broken down. These Brood War destructible rocks, if you will. Although, of course, they are stacked neutral buildings, which means that you do generally need splash damage to be able to kill them. Attacking them individually is not really effective. There's like a couple of Reavers out as well, but those are basically for base defense now, since he doesn't actually have High Templar with Storms. He is thinking about taking this back mineral only, which is fine. And by fine I mean good. He does need that extra income, since the Zerg is already on his 4 bases. And interestingly enough, the Protoss still staying ahead in supply here, 100 supply to about 90, just a little bit ahead. Usually as a Protoss, when you're going for standard gateway builds, you end up a little bit more ahead in supply, but you know, if you go for Ser Reaver, you're just gonna have, you know, fewer higher cost units. So so having the supplies be this close, I think, is not terrible, but still not ideal. And that is an okay unit composition. That is like, there's no Dragoons in that army, which is very concerning. I think the Dragoons are stuck. Oh man, there's 2 Dragoons stuck at his wall right now. But you know, Zealots are nice and all, but they're gonna get shredded by Lurkers. The thing is, I think those Reavers and the High Templars are really gonna be the key here. Can he splash down all of the Lurkers first before all his Zealots die? Because if all the Zealots die and he doesn't have anything buffering for his units again, those expensive don't lose the shuttle. Oh, nice storm there on the Hydras. But yeah, basically, what he has to do right now is not get too aggressive with the Zealots. He needs to kind of keep the Zealots back and use the Reavers to range down the Lurkers, and then when the Zerg army moves in, then he uses the Zealots to help protect his Reavers. It looks like one Reaver is getting focused down. One Reaver goes down here. Stats is, you know, Reaver protection here is not very good. But that's alright, he's moving in. A lot of Lurkers being morphed, but not finished yet. If those Lurkers finish, that'll be huge. Where are the Reavers? I don't know where the Reavers went. One Reaver went down, but there should have been a second one. Was there not a second Reaver? Did the shuttle go down? Wait, did the shuttle go down and I just didn't even notice? What's going on here? Where did the Reaver go? Oh man. Stats' army getting crushed once again in the middle of the map, and he still has not taken his backburner only. No, look, the shuttle's there. I don't know why it wasn't in that engagement. Stats showing some pretty lackluster control, I gotta say. Su, though, is doing a fantastic job holding off these attacks. He's got +2 attack now on his Hydra Lurk, only +1 attack for the Protoss, and finally Stats takes that back mineral only, but that is extremely late. This is not good. And he lost a bunch of Zealots just now. He's got a bunch of Dragoons, but you know, I think he might have been better off waiting a little bit on the attack, waiting until he had a few more Dragoons, maybe taking this mineral only a little bit earlier. Looks like he's done a bit of harassment here at the 6 o'clock. I think he's just dropping the Reaver there, killing a few drones, but Stats is in a pretty difficult position now. Now he's behind on supply, 91 supply to 106, and his army is just not very strong at all. I mean, you know, Dragoons supported by Reavers and High Templars is, you know, a very, very strong unit composition, but if you don't just have enough of it, I don't think that actually matters. Meanwhile, Hive is on the way for Su, and Stats going to move out once again here. I don't really agree with this. I don't think his army is big enough to be cost efficient against what Su can do. If Su just gets a big flank off, Stats will get demolished here. Su looked like he actually just went in for like a counterattack, or no, he actually went in to snipe some High Templars. He does get one High Templar at least with those links, but there is a DT drop now in the main. Stats actually, oh, that's actually very interesting. I think Stats, instead of committing to an attack, was actually using that attack to distract Su while so he could drop this DT in the main base. But it looks like Su, with very good reaction time here, is immediately going to chase this guy down. Wow. Oh, he might get one drone. He might get 2 drones. No, he will get 0 drones, in fact. And apologies about the lag. Oh man. Alright, looks like we're going slideshow mode. We're going PowerPoint mode, guys. This is hardcore. Actually, wait, I think I have my Skype open still. Let me close my Skype. Haha! Haha! I have fixed it. Maybe. Oh, interesting. Su actually taking a hidden expo here at the top right. He's taking the mineral only, which is interesting considering he's gone up to Hive Tech. And you'd think he'd rather get some gas, but I mean, I guess that's why it's a hidden expo. Very unlikely that Stats will actually check that base. Meanwhile, Stats looks like he's clearing out his 9 o'clock to go expand there, and moving the rest of his army across the map. Once again, kind of not really keeping his army together. If you look on the minimap, he's moving across in a line. That's not really how the Protoss army needs to be moving. You need to keep it together. You need to protect those valuable Templar and Reavers. Make sure, you know, random Zerglings and whatnot don't just run in and snipe them. But that is a pretty scary Protoss army. That's 5 High Templar and 2 Reavers, supported by a solid core of Dragoons and Zealots. I mean, there is so much splash damage in this army that it's going to be very difficult for Su to engage. And this is not even the best engagement angle for him. He's not in the middle of the map. He's not on open ground. He's going to be running into a bit of a funnel here. He tried to set up a nice position. He set up a nice surround, but does it even matter? Where are the storms? We need some storms. There are some excellent storms. What are the Reavers doing? The Reavers trying to get their shots off, and oh my god, a huge surround for Su, but all his stuff just died. That is the power of this Protoss composition right here. It doesn't matter if you get the good surround off, or does it? So many Zerglings and Hive just flooding out here for Su. Su just spamming the tier 1 units from all of his hatcheries, and it looks like actually with the second wave, Su is going to take this down. The Zerglings do have adrenal gland, so they are doing maximum damage here. One Reaver does get taken down, the Archon gets taken down, but it looks like one Reaver will remain, and the reinforcements from Stats will arrive, but not before the shuttle gets taken down, so that Reaver is stranded. It's going to have to crawl its way to wherever the next battle is. And the thing is, this kind of army trading is generally very good for the Zerg, especially with such an expensive army composition from the Protoss. And look at this. Now there's only Zealots left for Stats. He's lost all of his expensive units. High Templars and the Reavers are all gone. Just Zealots left against Hydra. Ling Lurker is generally not the most effective, although that is a lot of Zealots coming in here. The Lurkers are not done. Even if the Lurkers finish, he can just surround them and just pick them off as they pop. So the pressure is not done yet for Sue. But the pressure on the stream is apparently too much. He's randomly freezing here, but oh man, that is a lot of units coming in. The Observer might get picked off. He doesn't want to lose the Observer. Now he can't pick off those Lurkers when they pop. And he's going to have to pull back with some of those units. The Zealots that were in already are going to be sacrificed for the greater good. They're giving their lives for ire. Now the top right hidden expo for Sue is actually finished now. It doesn't seem like he has any drones there mining. I guess he's a little bit preoccupied with all this constant pressure from the Protoss player. And do keep in mind though that this time Stats has actually expanded behind this pressure. It does look like the 9 o'clock base has been established. And by established I mean it looks like there's a nexus there, but I don't think he's got like any cannons or anything. No, he actually did just throw that down, so not quite multitasking as well as I thought. I thought that would have been done by now. But we got a drop in the back. We got a drop in the back, and it's alright. It's dropping. Man, sometimes if you have too many like dropships or overlords in the same place, and you try and drop them at once, they just like bug out and stuff. It's pretty annoying. But the drop will go off. That back minnow only is pretty dead here. Cracklings take down buildings in a matter of seconds. Look at how fast that Nexus went down. That's like 10 Zerglings, and they killed that Nexus in like 3 seconds. Oh man, that's ridiculous. But look at this. Hidden Expo paying off, but not really. So a bunch of Zealots go to the top right main. They don't see anything. Then that one Zealot checks here, but there's already a Nidus Canal up. So Zealots is going to get one drone, but the base will be defended. Meanwhile, 2 Hero Zealots defending the ramp here, but the 4th base of Stats has been killed. So Stats now only mining from his natural 2-2 upgrades on the Hydras, 2-1 on the Zerglings. Very, very nice upgrades for Sue. I wonder if he's even out-upgraded the Protoss. Because I don't think Stats even has a second forge. Meanwhile, Stats is just distance mining from this 9 o'clock base now. Not ideal. 98 supply for Stats versus 121 for Sue. Sue's picking off gateways in the main. Stats is running around with a bunch of Zealots, but as you can see with Lurkers there, not going to do too much, although some High Templar and Reavers coming in, but still not really what you need when there's that many Lurkers. And a High Templar, a Defiler as well, but it looks like some nice storms here. Going to try and clear out the Lurker field, but oh man, the distance mining probes are all getting picked off by the Cracklings. The main base is still dying here. Stats is, I guess he's just going to go all in with this attack. He's just not trying to defend himself at all. But I can't see how he thinks this will work. I guess he just wants to go for it, go out in a blaze of glory and not, just defending his base. And here we go, the final attack. The final attack is going in. The Zealots getting shredded by the Lurkers. The Cracklings coming in from all sides. He has actually killed a lot of Zerg units, but he's lost all of his Zealots now. Now he's got 3 Archons, a couple High Templar, and 2 Reavers. Oh, nice storm there, killing a million Zerglings, and he is reinforcing with more Zealots now, but he's got to be mined out soon. Yeah, GG from Stats. He was down to like 30 supply, and Sue takes game number 1 for SKT1.
예, 뭔가 이제 견제로 테마를 잡는 것이 아니라 가까운 지역이니까 빠르게 한 방을 조합해서 지상 병력의 공격력 1단계 업그레이드, 리버, 그 다음에 커세어의 1단계 업그레이드 타이밍 때 6시를 밀어버리려고 했습니다만은 계속 좀 아슬아슬하게 막혔습니다. 결국 이제 아슬아슬하게 막히면 또 박혜민 해설도 언급을 해주셨어요.